All right. So today, I just want to do a quick video on using hitTest on the map view with the ArcGIS API for JavaScript. All right. Now I wanted to follow up with this because I've talked about hitTest before, and it's just one of these common things you do with the API nowadays. But there's been a couple updates to it over the past couple of releases, and I want to say maybe 2 or 3 releases ago, there was a pretty good upgrade to it. Basically, with the hit test, it's a way that you can interact with features on the map, right? So you click on the map and you want to know what features are where you clicked. It's a pretty straightforward kind of a thing you want to do. Now, it used to be with the hit test, you'd only get the topmost feature per layer in the map, right? So if you had a bunch of polygons overlapping each other from the same layer, or points was kind of the most common one, like maybe you've got I don't know, you've got a data set that adds a point every time someone crosses a street, like one of those traffic studies, something like that, and you put those lines out in the road, like you have a bunch of data points at the same location, you'd only get the topmost point. Now with hit test, though, you're going to get all the points in that layer wherever you click on the map, right? So you get a bunch of data out of your map, but it's only the data that's already in the map view, stuff that's already visible on screen, right? So we talk about layer views and stuff all the time and client-side data. This is where hit test really comes useful because you can get all the features at a particular location. And there's some stuff you can do with it, right? Because you can imagine it's going to be pretty fast. You get a few hundred features, maybe more, depending what's being drawn on the map. But that's a lot of stuff to kind of wade through and whatnot. So there are options you can do. I do want to talk about the fact that, yes, it works on, I think it pretty much works on all layers. It'll even work on base map layers, and it'll tell you, like, what the base map is. But typically for, like, vector tiles, you're going to get back information about what layer ID of the vector tile you're clicked on, right? So did you click on the layer ID 3 or 4 or something like that? And that could be the streets, or it could be the points of interest or something like that. I don't know. Whatever it is, maybe labels, not sure. So you get various bits of information for it. And when you use hit test, you're gonna pass it something called a screen point. And this is basically just the X and Y of the page, right? Not a map point. It's not the coordinates, right? These are not like latitude, longitude coordinates. These are from the top left corner of the screen, the X and Y screen points. And then the map is going to figure that out. That's kind of where, remember, this is a canvas, it's WebGL. That's kind of how it's going to figure out what is in the client by itself. So you can convert map points to screen points, and there's actually a method on the view called to map and to screen to go back and forth if you need to. So you don't have to use it with like clicking on a map. You can just pass some data, just pass some points to it and do it. But we're just going to talk about using basic screen points, right? What's really cool though is that you can just pass the mouse event directly, because the mouse event is going to have the X and Y for where you clicked on the screen anyway. So it's pretty useful that way. Okay, so let's take a look at this particular application here. Now I do have a map image layer in here, and I just want to highlight that you cannot use hit test on map image layers because there's no features, no graphics, I should say, that are part of the map image layer, right? It's just an image in the map, right? So you can't, it doesn't work that way. You have to convert those to feature layers and display them in the map, but don't worry about it. The only thing you should need to know is that it works on any layer that has features, so like CSV, GeoJSON, feature layer, things like that, but not an image layer, tile layers. It's just not going to work that way. Vector tile, we talked about, that does work. But I have it here just to highlight that it won't be part of your results. Okay, so let's take a look at this here. I am using reactive utils on instead of view.on. You don't have to, just fancy like that. So I'm doing it on the view, on the click event, and I'm just going to log out the particular event. Now I have an async function here for a reason, because hit test is async, and I just don't feel like doing .then and stuff. I just want to do it in the wait, get my results, and be done with it. Yeah, so I've got, what do I have here? So I have a USA layer, which is a map image layer of, the US, and that includes some of these cities and highways and stuff. And I have a census layer that is going to be census blocks, which are not currently visible yet, but if I were to zoom in very close, they start popping up like this. And I've got a poverty layer of just points of demographic information for poverty data, right? So we've got all that. So if I click on a map, I get this data here. So I have this is really what I'm interested in here. I'm interested in the X and the Y coordinates. Those are my screen points. You can see there's also a screen point on here as well if you want to grab that for whatever reason. But if I'm just doing the hit test, I don't need to. It just needs an object with the X and Y screen points, not map coordinates. Let me stress that again because people ask me sometimes. No, hit test uses the screen X and Y, not coordinates from the map. All right, so all right, let's go ahead and clear that up here. And let's go ahead and write some code to do a hit test here. So we'll get rid of this console log. So I'm going to go ahead and say, let's take a look at what you get when you do a hit test. So we'll say const data is going to be equal to await view dot hit test, and we're just pass the event over like so. Now let's go ahead and log out that data. See what we get. Run this. Clear this info here, and let's just click over one of these areas, like over here. LA is a pretty good one. Okay, so we've got this a lot to see here. Basically, we have 2 results that came back here in the object. I'm not sorry, it's not object. We have a results array here. So if I were to, okay, I'm not. All right, let's clear this up. Let me open up a real console because that is not very readable for me. Okay, let's do this again. All right, so click over here, make some room. Okay, so I've got 3 results came back, and the results are coming from maybe different parts of the layer. So yeah, so it's going to return back. I've got a map point, and a graphic. Now, I believe because this is returning a map point here, I should know right now that's going to be from the base map, the vector tile layer, right? So we can actually see where stuff is coming from because we gave every layer in here a title, right? So real easy to kind of iterate through the results and see what we get. So I know I get back a results object here. It's a screen point on here in the results object. So I only care about the results. So let's do this. Let's grab the results off of here. And instead of logging out those results, let's go ahead and iterate over some data here. Now, I'm not interested in anything else other than the layer in this case, right? We're not working with the graphics. We're not doing anything with the result of a hit test. Not really. We just want to see what we're getting back and kind of play with how to do a hit test. So let me grab the layer off of here. So get the layer of results. And we're going to log out the title. Console.log layer.title. Like so. All right. Clear that up. Run it again. And let's just click on the map here. Yeah, it's like I thought. The light gray reference. Here's my poverty layer. And then light gray base. So I know I'm getting that blue dot there. And I'm getting everything else under it. So if I zoom in some more, and let's clear this up here. So now I've got the census data, the census blocks underneath. So if I click on the blue dot again, I've got the base map reference, the poverty layer, my census data, and then I've got the base layer, right? So, okay, maybe I'm not interested in the, maybe I'm only interested in the poverty layer, right? So there's a way to do that. So if you go look over at the hit test over here, the hit test has this options object. In the options object, you have include and exclude, right? So you can either tell it what layers do I want to include as part of my hit test, or even the graphics. Maybe you have some graphics that you want included in the hit test that you've been accumulating over the runtime of your app somehow. You can do that, or even just exclude certain things, right? So let's try include first. I think include is probably the one most people are going to navigate to. So pass the event. Here's our options object. Let's do include, and maybe I want to include just the poverty layer. All right, so all right, let's do that and run it again. Let's go ahead and clear this up. Now remember, I need to zoom in so that the census block data actually shows up, because that it's client side. It's part of the features that will be available for me to hit test, but I'm only including the poverty layer. So I should only get one result back, not like 3 or 4. Click on this, and yeah, we only got the one poverty layer result. Awesome, that's cool. However, maybe I want, I have a lot of layers in there, and I want everything except the base map. Okay, so we want to exclude the base map. Little trick to that though, right? So if I do exclude, pass that array, I can't just do map dot base map. Let's try it. Let's see what happens, right? So if I want to exclude the base map from all of my results, run this again, clear this up. Let's go and zoom in. So the census data pops up. Okay, click on this again. I'm still getting the base map stuff because the base map is a base map object. It's not a layer. It's kind of a, I don't want to say it's a web map, but it's a collection of layers. So it's not a single layer itself. So what you want to do is you actually want to grab the base layers. But again, base layers is an array or a collection. So we'll destructure it. And then we want the exclude the reference layers. Like so. So now we're going to exclude this reference layer and the base layer. So if I run this again and clear this up, zoom in some more so we get the census data pop up. I click here. I should expect to get, I believe, 2 results. Yeah, so I got my poverty layer and my census data, but no more base map data because I've excluded it from the hit test. All right, so that's pretty much all I want to cover. I want to talk about the include and the exclude, how you can use the hit test to grab different layers from your map. Remember, it's all client-side stuff, and at no point do I have to worry about this USA layer because it's a map image layer, meaning it's just an image and no features to be included in the hit test in this case. I could iterate through the sublayers and turn them all to feature layers and add them to the map and have them draw, but I'm not doing that. And most of the time, you're not going to need to do that. If you need a feature layer from your map image layer to display on the map, you probably would have just gone with the feature layer to begin with, right? So don't make it any more complicated than it needs to be. Keep it as simple as you possibly can, people. But yeah, that's it. If you have questions, don't forget to ask. Please leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. I just want to let you know that I've started a new podcast called The Bounding Box, where I'll be talking about geo development, web development, and everything in between. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and plenty of other places that you can find podcasts. There are a few episodes available now. We are in a bi-weekly schedule, so every other week. Thank you.